recent seasons. It was one of those races where my old friends would have said, you want a horse that's carrying less than 11 stone. But the quality of the race has increased considerably. A lot of that's to do with the novices now. The average rating in the race has been rising over the last 4 or 5 years. And 2 of the last 4 have carried over 11 stone. Both of those were novices as well. So the profile of this race is really starting to change. It doesn't mean that other horses can't win, but the profile is changing. Shunter only carried 10 stone 5 but last year, but all of the next 6 horses carried over 11 stone. And we know that he was a bit of he was freakishly well handicapped, should we say, in a way that the handicapper will not really want someone to get in again. But he was completely unexposed, but he was a very experienced novice. As I say, getting off 10 stone 5 was just a gift. And if that was the beauty of no runner, no bet last year, you knew what kind of plot he was, so you could back him for every race because you knew you were getting your money back on the others. And I just had a good wedge on all of them. So I just waited to find out which one he was turning up in. It's basically, again, a race that's turning into, future graded horses winning it. It's either that or it's a completely unexposed handicapper. That's what you're looking for to win this race. And, you don't need to look much further. You can look differently if you're looking for the places, but for the winner, that's what you're looking for. Something that you think is going to be future graded or is a completely unexposed handicapper. And I mean completely unexposed. Ireland have won 4 of the last 7. And previously, the previous winner was in 1982. And again, being targeted and plotted with novices. So, the big Irish trainers, Gordon Elliott in particular, but not alone, really are starting to come to the fore in this race now. All of the novices that won the race were well backed as well. The longest starting price was 5-1. So it gives you some idea of, the way they're being laid out for this and being gambled. The 6 non-novices that won it, though, went off at 50-1, 12-1, 33-1, 16-1, and 14-1. So, you need 2 approaches to this race. And there's also multiple big price placed horses every year. So you want to find, your dart, the one, but it pays to look at, the other side of that and the big prices for the places. And as I say, when a non-novice wins this, often they come in at a very big price. So, you need a dual approach to this race. So effectively, back novices at the head of the market, even better if they've got course form, preferably, weirdly, on the new course coming here, which is bizarre, but that seems to be the case. And also look at the more experienced chasers that have got solid course form to place. It can be a bit of a specialist race. Horses come back over that sort of 2.5 miles around Cheltenham and run well time and time again. So, look, I would say, if it's a horse that hasn't got previous course form, it's going to be one of the leading Irish novices. Is it my turn to go next, or is it you? Who did the last one? Is it me or you, John? I don't know.
Yes, you go. I'm quite light in this race, so yeah, you crack on.
Well, look, I've got a short list of, I think, 10 or 11 to work from once the handicaps come out. Birchdale was one that I jumped on early for both this and for the Kinmure. I'm actually quite surprised that he hasn't got an entry in the Kinmure, if I'm honest. I thought he was probably more likely there than here, but I do like him here because his previous form has been 2.5 miles and over hurdles right around 2.5 miles around Cheltenham as well. So there's a lot to like about him. We've got the Gordon Elliott parade of Grand Parody, Fakir Delaine, Fancy Foundations. They're not his only ones, but they're the ones that I would like from his. The other Irish horse that I think is interesting is Bustleton of Joseph O'Brien's. he's been really playing around with that horse, messing around over trips and so on and so forth. And it has had the feel of a bit of mark management, actually. And he's gonna get to the race as a very experienced novice. I think he's actually quite interesting. And he probably isn't going to be the first one on most people's lips, actually. But I think I do quite like him for this. Of the UK Brigade, there was one horse that I marked out right at the start of the season for this. And for anybody that does look at my diary and looks a bit further down, I have horses that I have mapped out for races. A lot of people probably don't look that far down my diary, but he's been there right from the very start. And my comment against him was any mark 150 or less makes him very interesting for the plate, and that's Fusel Raffles. He's actually going to run off 148, so I have to be interested in him. Cool Cody, albeit he's getting to the veteran stage now, he's a standing dish around the course and distance. It's hard to see him not running his race, and if he does run his race, it's hard to see him not placing, really, isn't it? Although this is going to be quite a deep race. He just runs so well around that course and distance time and time and time again. And he does have the perfect profile of a horse that's going to place in this race. He's him and another horse that I'm going to come to in a second, actually, have a really good profile for horses that place in this race. Imperial Alcazar is clearly interesting after his last run, and he fits the profile of simply the bets type horse, I suppose. There's two mares that I like for this that are interesting me. Both could go to the mares chase, but I think
I'm guessing one of them's Vienna Court.
Yeah, one of them is Vienna Court.
Oh, yeah.
I have a back for both races, no run and no bet, but I actually prefer her here. If you look at her overall profile, she seems to run well in big fields. When you put her in small chases, she doesn't run so well. So I think she likes that bit of cover, and she ran really well in that 2.5 mile chase round HQ this season. It was her best race, in my opinion. So I think they may well come back for this race. The other one is the Glancing Queen. Alan King's got previous for sending his mares here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her turn up, and I think she could run a really big race as well. The other horse that's got a course and distance form around here, and you know what I say about coming back and running well, and I'm not sure I can actually bring myself to say these two words. Galahad Quest. Right, said it. Move on. I don't see him as the winner. I see him as one of those that can run into a place. He has got that kind of profile where he's got all of that course and distance experience, and that stands horses in really good stead. He's nowhere near as much interest as he was for the Ultimate, but I can't get away from the fact that I do have to shortlist him because he's capable of placing.
Yeah,
painfully so.
Yeah, I was interested actually to see your thoughts on him. And yeah, for me, I would be similar. I think he's kind of fairly well held over this trip. It is hard to see where that improvement's going to come.
Yeah, he'll run his race, won't he? You know.
Yeah.
He was beaten quite comfortably by Torn and Frayed the last time, and he just held the others. But you know, he got his head down. He was tough enough to hold them off. So again, you know, I'm not going to repeat myself about doing it like a stayer, but you know, he's going to come up against some better handicapped horses this time. You know, and the Irish are in the mix too. So you know, he'll run his race. He'll run a good race. You know, they'll run him prominently now, and you kind of don't want to be too far off the pace in these kind of races, really. But you can't see him winning. You can see him finishing third, fourth, fifth, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's a few all horses you mentioned, to be honest. Fusel Raffles would be kind of the first one. Fairly obvious. I mean, yeah, finished second in the Marsh last season. I think whatever you think of Chantry House, the form kind of tied in with him. He still is a 160 rated horse that is going for the Gold Cup. And yeah, you're talking about a horse that's in the high 140s now. Brave Man's Game. Granted, it was his chase novice debut, but that doesn't look too bad either. That Newton Abbott run at the start of the year. And yeah, he's a horse that loves the track, course and distance. He's only 7, and yeah, he's an obvious play, I think, and he's still a fairly decent price. I think 14 to 1. If I'm honest, I think he's probably going to place. I mean, he ran obviously in the Caspian Caviar. It was a Caspian Caviar for December.
Yes.
Finished 4th. Yeah. I think he did make a bad mistake, didn't he? But yeah, came 4th. I could probably see him running a similar race. Probably picking up one of the places. Might not be a win fancy for me, but I can absolutely see it. Vienna Court was the one as well. I do. I think she's probably more likely to go for the Mayor's Chase, given what connections have said. But they do have Zambella, so it wouldn't be the biggest surprise if they do split them, especially as the Mayor's Chase could look quite a fairly decent renewal. Actually, it's not going to be light in numbers. I know there's only 15 entries, but I think it's going to be a race as some of the mares maybe look at the handicaps. I didn't think of the Glancing Queen actually until you said, and she obviously has the beating of Vienna Court.
Yeah, she does.
But yeah, this is a race that I really do like, the kind of course and distance form, and Vienna Court has that. And I think the last one again was one you mentioned, Bustleton. Yeah, stacks of experience, and you can pick some decent form there. Came second in December to Ciel de Neige. He's rated 148 now. There's only 4 lengths behind him. Ran in the Grade 1 at Leopardstown. And we kind of spoke about Embittered, how he kind of just got a run around. Probably, I would imagine the same with Bustleton. I think that was his agenda as well that day.
It definitely was. I was watching.
Yeah, I mean, he's been running in, gaining experience, running in lower grade races, and then bang, gets him in a Grade 1. I don't think that was to see if he was a graded horse. He went on 40 to 1. That was purely just to kind of a deliberate plan with that one. Yeah.
Tick him over, and if the handicap was being kind to them, that was all.
Exactly that. So yeah, I think at the moment they're my 3: Bustleton, Fussel Raffles, and Vienna Court. To be honest, I wouldn't be confident they're kind of the winner. I haven't probably nailed my colours to the mast on my strongest fans in the race yet, but yeah, they're the 3 that I like and I've backed. So.
Okay, so we're on to the Kim Muir. So for me, the Kim Muir is probably the second easiest to figure out after the Pertemps, and possibly the easiest. All of the last 3 were Irish trained. Gordon Elliott, the last 2, and 3 of the last 6. Both of Elliott's last 2 ones were novices, and neither would have been particularly obvious anti-post, actually. All of his novice entries basically need scrutiny. Squateur was a novice in 2018.